Okay, so um, I have kind of paid attention to how my PC has been reacting since I've done the RAM upgrade. And like I've told you before, like where my mouse is, my playtime is 1,100 hours from Doom External, which I just stopped playing. So this game is something I constantly play. Okay, and I did notice faster load times. Okay, and I've also noticed that the game doesn't do little annoying stuff like jerking and skipping, and it's a lot smoother when moving from left to right or walking throughout the map, which is great. Okay, now the cool thing, the thing that kind of confuses me, and you gotta understand, at one point, okay, I was the computer guy. Okay, you asked me anything about motherboards, RAM, channels, bus speeds, all that stuff. I knew about that stuff, but you have to understand, like I said, you can't have it all. Okay, so I have mastered one part, and then I have to make a choice. Do I still want to master this as I am growing in my life, or do I need to get a new mastery? Okay, and if I want to master something else like networking, okay, this has to be put on hold. Okay, all right, that's it. Okay, and of course, I stopped doing PC stuff a long time ago, but the basics never change. Okay, now the interesting thing is when I added the RAM, okay, my computer would not boot. Okay, and what happened is, the first boot, okay, came up with a BIOS warning. Okay, I don't go into BIOS. I just turn it off by the power switch of the power supply and turn it back on. After 3 or 4 attempts of doing this, it doesn't work. So I try to trigger that warning again by doing a power supply. Not power supply, a power button. Okay, reset. Okay, and that did bring the warning back. And I go back into the BIOS and I set the defaults. Back to defaults. Okay, and of course, it's going to tell you when you go to save what your changes are in the BIOS that you made changes to. And yeah, there was memory timing and memory tweaks that was done on this particular PC, which will make sense because you're only giving me 16 gigs of RAM and you're only giving me 1 stick. Okay, now my frequency was 3,000. Okay, on the memory. Now it's 1,800. However, okay, I get smoother performance. Okay, because at some point you got to realize my RAM can be as fast as hell, but the lack of volume of RAM, where I don't have enough RAM to do the things that I need to do, okay, makes a huge difference. So more memory in a lot of ways is better. Okay, all right. I don't know what to tweak in the BIOS to get the RAM up, and to be honest, I'm not really interested in it because I got more important things to do for right now. And 2, I've never been an overclocking guy. Okay, my buddy was really into it back in the day when we were building computers together. Okay, meaning that he would build his, I would build mine, and we would benchmark and do all that crazy stuff. All right. And he loved overclocking. I didn't. Okay, I did not. All right, I was happy with the performance it gave me, as long as I did not suffer. I was fine, and I was content. Okay, and my buddy was never content. Okay, all right. So he'll go out and get the fastest CD-ROM out there. Okay. 3 months later, they'll come up with a new one. He would try to sell that one, which most of the time he couldn't. Okay, because internet and eBay wasn't really big back then. Okay, so he would take his losses and buy the new one. A lot of times I did buy his own hardware until I just stopped. Because I started realizing that all his used stuff, okay, there was always some issues with them later on down the road. So I had stopped buying his used stuff, okay, all right, because some people just have to have the best. They're never content, all right, and this goes on the same saying, same thing about picking your boundaries and what you consider is enough knowledge to move on to the next topic. Okay, because like my bunny, okay, he's gonna, going in my position, there's no way he could do what I'm doing. Okay, first of all, because he's lazy as hell, but still, let's say he wasn't. Okay, he could never get off a topic. Okay, because it's never enough. He has to know the newest thing or as much as he can, and he never gets to the next topic. Just like he can't own a computer component for a year straight. And I built my computers that last me 5 years at the minimum. Okay, and I'm content. All right. The only time I don't get content is when I buy a buy a game and I can't max out the graphics. Okay, all right. And now, yeah, I got it kind of bugs me. It weighs on my mind. Now I got to upgrade my graphics card, and when I upgrade that bad boy, it's not going to be cheap. Okay, and I don't have to worry about upgrading that thing for another 5 years. Every game that comes out, I can put it on max settings, and I'm fine. I'm back to being content. So you have to set your boundaries, okay, on what you believe is enough to move on to the next topic. Okay, you can do this by using training materials, okay, but then again, you gotta understand, okay, not people, okay, so how do I put this? All right, people are not training you for the purpose of training you. Okay, their purpose of training you is money. Okay, that's it. And if that's the case, everything they do is based on them making more sales, not teaching you a skill set, not teaching you the technology, not having the means of teaching you something that you're probably not going to get from another course. That's not their motive. Think about every YouTube video, and you know what? I get tired of hearing it. Okay, and at some point, I will kill the video and just go to something else because it's a cliche. Every person that creates a video talks about hit the like button. Dude, I'm tired of hearing that crap. Okay, all right. That's not why I'm watching your video. If I wanted to click the like button or subscribe, I would have been done it. Okay? But this is what they teach other people, and everybody's riding on the bandwagon because they want to get rich, making a YouTube video, and now you're realizing that a YouTube video is not meant for education. It's meant for them to make money. Okay? So you gotta understand that, okay? Another thing I don't like. Alright, if I'm gonna teach you something, okay, and it takes an hour to teach, it's gonna take an hour. Okay? Alright, I am not concerned with you getting bored after 5 minutes, okay, and kill my video. That's not why I put the video out. Because you liking my video and you subscribing, do you ever hear me say those things? Okay, because that's not the purpose of my videos. Okay, so if it takes an hour, it takes an hour. And you know my average video is about 45 minutes long. Okay, on an average. Okay, and here's the thing. If you're making a 2-hour video about a topic that I want to learn, I am going to watch the 2-hour video. Period. So now you're getting a training course, and because someone told them, all right, that the average person, okay, loses interest after 5 minutes, and your video should only be 5 minutes long. What? Okay, so you're jumping on a bandwagon because some statistics, meaning that 90% of those people in that statistics, okay, can't even tie their shoes without getting distracted. That's their problem. Okay? I came here to watch your video to get the content that I want to have, okay, and to get some type of direction, all right? Not for you to make it 5 minutes long, okay? So when I see a CCI video and it's all the videos are 10 minutes or less, I know what value I'm going to get out of that, okay? And most of the time, it's going to be none. All right, have you ever noticed that, okay, and if you just get into Cisco, you're not going to, but when you watch the on-demand videos, Cisco live videos, guys, there's not a video that's not less than an hour long. Okay, every one of them is an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay, there's a reason for it, because no one can give you information in 10 minutes. Okay, this field, there's a reason why it's the hardest field in IT, or one of the hardest. Okay, all right, because I'm not even going down the track of Oracle and stuff like that. All right, even F5, man, F5 is a very hard longevity of a certification. I mean, they're not playing around. Okay, but still, okay, Cisco is one of the hardest in the industry. Okay, one of, not the hardest, some aspects. Okay, but there's a reason for it. The complexity is there. All right, if you are on that 10-minute tip, all right, that's fine. Okay, but your studies over a direct or over a duration will suffer. Okay, and you'll eventually realize it, and you got two choices: to realize to get off that 10-minute bandwidth, or bandwagon, or don't. All right, your results are not my results. Okay, and I don't have time to care about the results. Okay, what I do care about, okay, is the fact that you are not jumping on bandwagons and not setting boundaries towards what needs to be done when you're studying topics. Be strong, be determined, be Cisco. See you guys in the next one.